Broadcasting on Star Worldwide Networks. It's Two Small Biz Guys. And now, here are your hosts, Zen Benefiel and Ray Silverstein.
Welcome to Two Small Biz Guys. Hey, Ray, how are you?
We are sensational because today we're
polyphrenic today. Is that what's going on?
Polyphrenic. My gosh, all these big
that's
words
more than two. Schizo's two. Poly is more.
How about bi?
Bipolar? Yeah,
not
hey,
bipolar,
today, you were in the medications earlier, weren't you?
Yes, I was. I was singing in my joyful sounds.
You were. Okay, well, no cheap hotels here.
But today we're going to be linked in together.
We are. We're going to talk about LinkedIn. And, you know, a lot of people are familiar with LinkedIn, the type of platform that it is, and yet there are so many that don't fully utilize what's there. And so we're going to talk about all those things, kind of what it is, what it isn't, what it'll do, what it won't do, and how you can play with it better.
Well, I find the most interesting part is that most business people I'm working with, they use LinkedIn or they think about it, but I think it's probably the most business-orientated platform, especially on B2B.
Of all the social media platforms, absolutely.
Of all the social media ones. And if you aren't familiar with it, you should be familiar with it. Even I go to it, which is amazing, since I'm digitally...
It truly is. You're digitally challenged.
No, I'm digitally delinquent.
That's even better. I like that. The digital delinquent.
Yeah, it's D square.
We're going to have to use that. Okay, so LinkedIn originally was for people posting their resumes looking for work. That's how it started out.
Right. I heard about LinkedIn, it must be maybe 10 years ago. And one of my fellows who was a recruiter, and he was talking all about LinkedIn.
And that's about the time that it came on the scene.
So I agree with you that LinkedIn was primarily for recruitment, for job search, and it still is. But I think that the aspect is a lot of people miss the boat.
And it's so much more now.
Right, because I don't think they think about using LinkedIn for sales, lead generation, marketing, whatever.
And even publishing.
Right.
You know, there's all kinds of, it truly is on par with the other social networks, with the exception that it is skewed towards B2B. And that would be business to business.
Oh, thank you. I thought that was birds to birds or something like that.
Birds to bees?
Birds to bees, okay. But if you don't use it, you get stung.
Exactly. And, you know, speaking of stinging,
You're tongue-tied right now.
I am. I was trying to go somewhere with that, and it just didn't work. You know, sometimes the words are there, and sometimes they're not.
So tell me about LinkedIn. What do you think? No, we haven't really talked about it, but groups.
We're just starting to talk about
I know,
LinkedIn.
but the aspect about groups on LinkedIn, or why don't you just explain what LinkedIn is, and then we can go into maybe groups later on.
Okay, that sounds great. LinkedIn basically is a social platform that allows you to post your resume, details about your business, who you are, what you've done, recommendations for you that you've gotten, various positions or companies or whatnot.
Okay, but rather than the word resume, I think the word profile is better, because resume indicates that you're really looking for a position. At least I perceive it that way.
Agreed, and yeah.
So people post
Well,
their
they
profile.
call it summary.
Okay, well, summary is fine.
Yeah.
But the aspect is people put this up because they are touting their experience and knowledge, maybe looking for a job, but also...
it's a way to wave your flag.
Right. So therefore, if people want to do business with you, they're waving their flag to saying, look, I'm pretty skillful.
Right. And so this is one of the ways that folks can put their stake down in the Internet. Hopefully it's well done.
Okay, that's
It could be a little raw. It might be rare. And, hopefully it's not burnt.
Singed. Right. When I barbecue, I singe.
Oh, good. Well, that gives it the charcoal flavor.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So in the process of doing all of this, you want to make sure that you present yourself authentically. If you're a very streamlined, professional, data-driven, by the book, present yourself so. If you're a little wacky and weird, you can present yourself in that way
Is
well.
is that what you did?
Well, I probably border on that because I've got currently anyway, I switch my pictures every once in a while. My current picture is the caricature from our show.
Oh, okay.
And I present myself in a little different way because I am that way.
Okay, since you mentioned the picture, sometimes when I looked in LinkedIn, I see people...
Weird is not a bad thing either.
Well,
It's like consequence.
we won't use weird. We'll use unusual.
Wonderful.
We'll use
Unusual. Unique.
unique. That's
There we
even
go.
better. But I see some people don't put up their picture. What are your thoughts about people on their
Big no-no.
profile who? Why is that a big no-no?
Because people want to see what you look like, even if it is a caricature. They want to know, and in your presentation, people are going to be looking. You want to make sure that you have not necessarily a glamour shot, but a professional photo there, because this is your presentation to the world.
So if you're going to be on LinkedIn, it's your suggestion that they do have a semi-professional photo of themselves.
Absolutely, and it's not my suggestion. It is best practice, and if you look at all the folks that put information out, including me, I've got a workbook here that's on how to grow your business using LinkedIn, and in that, as well as the others, one of the primary things for your resume is having a professional photo.
Okay,
Excuse me, your summary, your profile page.
Okay.
I said resume again.
Okay, but
I got to lose that word.
Okay, but in the profile or summary, what do you suggest that people put up? Do they put up just their background, or they put up their philosophy? What do they do?
Well, in this day and age, story is a big thing. We're all storytellers, and the better story we tell, the more compelling it is to get to know us. Right, the more encouraging it is to reach out, connect, and engage. Or, in the vernacular, to know, like, share, and follow.
Okay.
Or know, like, follow, and share.
Okay, so on LinkedIn, they have what they call a profile strength, where they rank your profile as to how good it is.
Well,
Yeah.
ultimately, you want all-star.
Okay, so to be
Now, are there parameters that they give you to get it there? Not necessarily. There are certain things that you need to fill in, and those are pretty self-explanatory. Your summary, your work experience, your picture, your headline, all of those kinds of things. And make sure that your keywords are present everywhere.
Okay, so when you're talking about keywords, so keywords are not just for your SEO type of activity on your website, but you're also saying the keywords should also be in your profile?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So
SEO, Google is everywhere. So's Yahoo, so's Bing. Used to be Inktomi was the go-to database that all the search engines looked for, and then, of course, that was back in the 70s and 80s, and now I don't know what they use, and it's changed, but the original Inktomi was spelled Inktomi.
That's really interesting. I mean,
It's a bit of history.
So when I look at your hair, the question is, who has the Tony? But that takes you way, way back.
Yeah.
But the aspect is when you say Google is
that
everywhere.
goes into permalinks.
Yes. When you say Google is everywhere, does that mean that Google is now Big Brother?
They act like it a lot of times because they do. They're purveyors of the web. They keep things honest and trustworthy, and they do their best to do no harm, which was their original motto.
Okay, so when you talk about in Google, they also have when you're searching for people, you also can use advanced search. What is the difference between advanced search and just any search?
Well, with advanced search, you can look through. You can use companies, you can use cities, you can use locations, you can use income, you can use interest level. There's all kinds of different parameters that you can include in looking for folks that you want to connect with.
Okay, so if you use advanced search, if I'm looking for somebody, in other words, I get somebody's name.
Most of the time, you can just plug their name into into the search bar at the top of the screen, and they'll come up.
Yeah, it's amazing.
There may be others like them.
Well, it's amazing when you take a common name. They generally will put the party you're looking for if there's a geographical location near you. If they're an industry somewhat similar to yours, whatever, they show up on the top, even if there's maybe 1,000 of them.
Right.
But sometimes you got to go looking through, like you're looking for their company.
Speaking of looking through, we're going to look through the looking glass right now and take a quick break, and we'll be right back with you. Thanks for listening to Two Small Biz Guys, and we'll continue our discussion on LinkedIn in just a moment.
Two Small Biz Guys with Zen and Ray. We'll be back after this.
Hi, I'm Zen Benefiel with Be the Dream Transformational Life Coaching and Professional Services at BeTheDream.com. Our mission? To provide leading-edge transformational personal and business development services. Our services include life coaching, enterprise coaching, partnering facilitations, and possibilities coagulating. We've been in business since 1988. In times of massive change, you need someone who can help you adjust and transform. I can meet that challenge with you, offering a stellar skill set from serving individuals and companies for over 20 years. I invite you to peruse BeTheDream.com and put me to the test. Fill out the coaching assessment survey and give me a call. The first call is free, and you can find out if I'm what you are looking for in a coach, consultant, or service provider. Call 480-633-7179. Let your dreams mold future realities. BeTheDream.com. Are you a small business owner looking for education and information and don't have time for school? Is there an area of your business you'd like to know more about but aren't sure where to go or who to ask? Practical Biz U is an online repository of small business courses now available to you on the web. There are single class options, bundles for specific areas, and monthly memberships for ongoing learning opportunities. Go to practicalbizu.com and sign up today.
You're listening to Two Small Biz Guys. Now, back to your hosts, Zen Benefiel and Ray Silverstein.
Welcome back to Two Small Biz Guys. We're talking about LinkedIn today, one of the most prolific professional websites on the web, and you should be using it if you have a company or you're looking for work or engaged in work, looking for sales. There's all kinds of things that you can do with it. This section, we're going to talk about best practices.
Yes, well, you told me before, practice, practice, practice. So I guess that's best practice.
It is, and you know that's why they call it practice. Any kind of discipline has a practice.
So what is the best practice for LinkedIn? If I want to be on LinkedIn, have a best practice profile so people can find me and think the best about me.
Well, how would you want to appear?
I want to have a weird picture like you.
Okay, you do. Not yet, but I can put one there.
Don't.
Okay, so let's... Don't. Oh, come on. All right, so you just want to be weird, not wacky, huh?
Right.
Okay, well, there is a generational gap here.
It depends which generation now.
This is true. We got almost 20 years between us, so that's a generation, right?
Right.
So we're both learning and growing.
So when we talk about best practice, we talked about the picture before.
Right.
But when people, how do you get recommendations? So it's, you see on LinkedIn where they have down on the bottom.
Well, before we get to that,
Okay.
let's kind of go down the page a little bit. Your summary is the next thing that you see. And so your summary, you're only limited to, I think, 2,000 characters or something close to that.
I don't know that many. I only know maybe 45
Well, the only
characters.
caricature that you know is sitting across from you.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. So in the summary section, you want to kind of outline, this is where you tell your story, basically. So authentically, originally, uniquely, you want to describe yourself, who you are, what you do, what you're interested in, a little bit about what you've done, who you're looking for, what you're looking for, if anything, and just kind of encapsulate it in that summary section.
Okay.
You want to make sure that you put it in paragraphs. Your grammar is exquisite, sentence mechanics and everything like that. Remember, this is a professional site, so you've got to have all of those things done. And if you're uncomfortable with that, hire somebody.
Okay. So what you're saying is that the profile, the first thing that you see, or the summary, and is probably the most important aspect of the site once you get past the picture.
Well, in the marketing aspect of the web, there's a phrase called above the fold.
Above the fold.
Above the
Okay.
fold, which means when the screen comes up, you want to see what's there, and you want to be there. So the first things that you're going to see on that page are your photo, your name, your headline, your location, your past experience. This is all going to be listed right next to your photo. And so all of those things are filled in down below. The next thing you see is your summary. Your summary then has to have the details that I described earlier. And of course, this depends on how you want to appear professionally. Most folks, kind of like public speaking, they're a little afraid of getting up on the stage. Okay. And to be able to cut loose and be fancy-free is a challenge.
Okay, but after the summary comes the experience. And how much experience should you really put in? Should you really go on and on and on, or do you just keep it somewhat reasonable?
There's multiple schools of thought on that. One is to, share 10 years worth of who you are, what you've done, where you've been, what you've been responsible for, your accomplishments. If you've got work products, you can put those up in the forms of video, PDFs, images, Word docs.
So work product, you mean like if you have a blog, or if you have an article, or if you've done a YouTube picture. In other words, all those things.
Those kinds of things, yes. And if you have, like if you were in the construction industry and you have a photo of some of the jobs that you've been on.
Oh, so that's how we build the site.
You got it. Oh, you threw that one in there. Nice. I love it. Okay, so yeah, that's how you build the site. And specifically this one, as you build your profile, you want to include those things that show you in your best light.
Okay.
Right? Because that's all these things are data packets of light that, show up in different forms depending on what browser you use.
Well, we can't have a browser because I'm looking at my profile now and it's so long, I can't just browse through it. It takes a while.
Well, okay, so speaking of so long, let's look at...
the show's not over.
Yeah. Bye for now.
No, don't.
Buy now and save,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so when we're talking about business speak or a colloquial approach, what do you think is better from, you're kind of a high-level business guy, right? You don't, reframe that. You look for specific details and how they're presented. What kind of things are you looking for that shows you the type of character or caricature that you're dealing with?
Well, you find it's interesting looking through different, I'll call profiles. Some people talk about their vision as to what they're really looking to do or what their business is like. Some people talk about their experience. I basically look for where they are because I'm looking from a sales and marketing perspective. If I was looking from a hiring perspective, I'd be looking as to what their vision is, what are their values. I'd be looking at what is their past experience from a hiring position.
Right.
From a marketing position, I'd be looking for what is their occupation, what do they really do, what is their responsibility and authority, and what have they done in the past. In the aspect,
and therein you might want to include what kind of recommendations they've been able to get.
Right. Then we get into the aspect of recommendations, and we also get back.
How easy do you think the recommendations are to get?
Well, it's interesting because in the recommendations that I think originally it used to be that it was very easy to get on because people just had to click. But I think if you want to get valid recommendations,
those are endorsements now,
right.
Which is another feature that LinkedIn has.
Okay, but when it comes to recommendations, I've been lazy at that, and I think you have to really go out and ask people for them so that you can post them.
Even in doing so, you've also got to be considerate of other people's time and maybe what else they've done for you elsewhere too, because sometimes that can run into conflicts in their scheduling or hey, I've already given you enough stuff. You want more? Really? So, and yes, that's always great to have. The more you can have, not just in LinkedIn, but across all the social platforms, the better image and perspectives you get from others.
So when you talk about the endorsements, how often do they do they, when you put up an endorsement 10 years ago, is it still there, or is it, or does LinkedIn change these and rotate them?
No. Any digital information, once you post it on the web, it's there. It may be farther down as you put new ones up there. They don't take anything off. You're the one that's in total charge of your profile. Now, they do have methods that allow you to take greater charge of your profile, and those are in the subscription-based fee-for-service kind of things that they have as well. We're just talking about the general free format of LinkedIn.
Okay, since you're the doctor of the digital, how do you like that? Doctor of digital.
Ooh, just don't call me a proctologist.
Oh, okay. Oh. Whoa, I'm not going to say anything after that.
Yes.
But the aspect is, should people be asking or putting endorsements in? Do you think the endorsements are more important, or do you think that they ought to be putting up information such as articles that they might have had, or a blog or whatever?
I kind of think the endorsements, yes, they're great to have. I've got probably 10 or a dozen items that have 99 plus endorsements on. Mm-hmm. Now, does that really affect how people engage me? What would you think?
Well, I think it might have years ago, but today, there's so many. I see people that give me an endorsement.
Well, if you use it regularly, it's an easy click. The stuff comes up above your profile, or if you're looking at someone else's, endorse them for X amount of skills. You click one button, you can endorse them for 5 different skills.
Right.
Is that really legitimate? Well, I guess is what you're asking.
Well, the aspect is I get people who give me an endorsement I don't even know. At least I don't remember. Which brings up the question.
I got 4,400 people on there. Do I know them all? No.
So that brings up the question.
Do you want to have people that you know only?
Well, on your contacts, maybe I'm taking this ahead, but should you be a discriminate contact party, or should you be an indiscriminate contact party?
I just like party. It depends on the kind of party you want. If you want to be inclusive, then be inclusive. If you don't. That's a personal preference.
Because I heard one gal who was a LinkedIn expert. She gave a talk, and she talked about at one time she didn't take any LinkedIns from anybody unless she really knew them.
Right.
And then she said, "I'm going to be a non-discriminate LinkedIn party." So now anybody who wants to link with her links with her on the premise that if she sends out information to first contacts, all of them can get the information. So
right.
Therefore, her world is larger and she can do more with it.
And I think that latter approach is probably the best, because you do open yourself. Why are you online?
Well,
you're online to do business, to get to know people, to connect, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So if you limit yourself, then how is that helpful?
Well, this comes back, I think, to the philosophy of the person as to whether they're more
introverted or extroverted.
Well, I think it's whether they're more guarded or not guarded.
Well, yeah, some people don't trust the internet yet, and because the bottom line is, it is transparent. People can find information. If you've got it out there, it's available for pretty much anybody to find if they know how, and sometimes even if they don't.
Yes, it's better than the Washington Wall now.
Yeah, exactly. What we find, though, is that it really depends on why you're there.
And why you use it. And the aspect is, very quickly, I think people who don't use LinkedIn are missing something from a sales and marketing aspect. And people, I know, use it for job search because that's very big. But I think people who don't use it on the other side are missing something.
And we're going to get into the sales and marketing aspect of it, talking about company pages and showcase pages in the next segment. Thanks for listening to Two Small Biz Guys. We'll be right back with you.
Two Small Biz Guys with Zen and Ray. We'll be back after this. As a business owner, have you ever felt alone at the top? You don't have to be. Ray Silverstein has worked with many business owners for over 20 years facilitating peer advisory boards. He is the proverbial mentor and tormentor. A Pro President's Peer Advisory Board is a confidential monthly meeting of non-competitive owners that give support, feedback, and knowledge. They know the adage, all of us are smarter than one of us. He has walked in your shoes, having owned and sold 2 companies with sales in excess of $60 million and approximately 1,300 employees. In Young President's organization, he participated in peer advisory boards and felt it was a key to his success. His passion is to help small business owners succeed. He knows peer boards work when you are open, don't feel like you know it all, are willing to put issues on the table, and willing to take criticism. Be his guest at a pro advisory board meeting to see if it works for you. There's no commitment to join, and you'll have a great experience. To sample a free pro business owner peer board, email ray@proprez.com. That's ray@proprez.com. There's no commitment or charge.
Are you a small business owner looking for education and information and don't have time for school? Is there an area of your business you'd like to know more about but aren't sure where to go or who to ask? Practical Biz U is an online repository of small business courses now available to you on the web. There are single class options, bundles for specific areas, and monthly memberships for ongoing learning opportunities. Go to practicalbizu.com and sign up today.
You're listening to Two Small Biz Guys. Now, back to your hosts, Zen Benefiel and Ray Silverstein.
All right, welcome back to Two Small Biz Guys and our discussion on LinkedIn. Are you linked in?
I'm certainly am LinkedIn. You're darn right. I'm like a LinkedIn fence.
But to what?
Yeah. Well, I'm basically linked into the basic aspect of LinkedIn, but you're going to talk about company pages and things like that, which I know nothing about. So why don't you enlighten me?
Company pages, here we go. Company pages 101. Well, first of all, in LinkedIn, if you've got a company, you want to have a company page. Why? Because it helps you interact with your potential customers, your existing clients, you develop a following base, you can deliver content. Remember, content's king, quality is queen. So you want to be able to have that marriage of the two to deliver to your listening audience, right?
Now,
just like the show, we're trying to deliver great content.
Okay,
you want to do the same thing with your page.
Now, do people go looking for company pages, or are they? In other words, if I put a company name in, is that when the company page comes up, or does it also take me to the individual who cites that company on their profile?
In a word, yes.
In
a few words, it depends on what you're looking for. And that's not a song, or at least it is, but this thing, you're looking, if you're looking up an individual and they're part of a company, their page will more than likely be connected to their profile. If you're looking for a company, then that page will show up and it will show who else is associated with that company on the company profile page.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now you've got graphics, and you can put graphics, videos, images, same things you can put up with your profile page, you can do with your company page.
So is your company page kind of like a website for you?
Yes.
So it's basically a website that's on LinkedIn.
Right.
So if a person is searching for you and they don't know where to find you, so if they went to your profile and then they were interested in you, they could go to your company page.
Yes.
Or interested in the company.
Right.
Rather than
and depending on what they plug into the search engine in looking for you, if they have an individual name or a company name.
Now,
individuals, LinkedIn, oftentimes, if you're looking for an individual, their profile, if it's on LinkedIn, will show up on the first page of Google.
Okay, if you do a company page and you have, I'm assuming you have keywords within the company page.
Absolutely, you better. So
if somebody is working for your keyword and they put the keyword into the search, would your company page come up?
It depends on how well you have that integrated and the number of connections that you have. The algorithms for search are different depending on the engine that you use. LinkedIn is a slightly different engine than Google. But the factors still apply as long as you've got everything, your content, your keywords, all of those things in line. And if you don't know how to do it, hire somebody
Okay.
or do some research to find out.
Okay, I'm looking at this extraordinary company page called Two Small Biz Guys,
Yeah,
and I see that we have followers.
we do.
What does that mean?
That means that we have people that have decided to be a follower. They're looking to pay attention to whatever information that we present in our news feed.
So if we present material to LinkedIn, such as in Pulse or someplace, would it come up?
No, this is not Pulse. We're going to talk about that in our next segment. The information that you post here, you can bring in from many different sources. You can post it through news feeds using Walkabout or Talkabout, I think is the Talkwalker. That's it. Google Alerts, you used to be able to do it with Twitter feed or probably even TweetDeck.
So do your followers automatically get that? Does it show up that you posted this, or is it?
If they're a follower, yes, they automatically that shows up in their news feed on LinkedIn.
Okay, now if you have followers on your profile page, you have.
And oftentimes LinkedIn will send an email out that says these people that you're following have posted.
Okay, but on your profile page, you have people who are your first connections. On your company page, if you have followers, can you go in and find out who your followers are?
Yes.
So if a person follows you, you're saying that you want to build a rapport or relationship with them because they have some type of interest in you?
Right. And the first thing you want to do is thank them for the follow.
Okay.
And see where they're at, what their company is, go follow them. Do reciprocal actions. The wonderful thing about the web is that it's a give feature. Or complex, if you will. And it can be quite complex. But with the no like, follow, and share parameters that we've talked about earlier, you want to give everything that you want to get.
So you also talked a little bit about engaging conversation on company pages. So how do you do that?
Just like any other post, there's a section right underneath each post that you can like, comment. You can identify others with the @ symbol or with the pound or the hashtag.
Okay. Does that show up if somebody makes a comment? Does that show up on my profile that they made a comment on the company page, or do I have to go to the company page to find it?
You have to go to the company page.
Okay. So in other words, it's not integrated with your profile, so you have to look in a couple of different places.
Right. Your company page is, like you said earlier, the website. It's a standalone feature specifically designed to showcase your company.
Okay.
Speaking of showcase, there's another feature called a showcase page where you can also identify a specific person in the company that has particular skills, a product, a service, pretty much everything that differentiates your company. If you can use it to post a showcase page, then that's probably a good idea.
See, I would be very careful with that because that, from my perspective, it means that they're primed to be recruited out. So if I'm a recruiter, I look for people who have these skill sets. I mean, maybe we shouldn't say this on the radio, but that's...
Why not?
I know that
it's the way the world works.
I know that recruiters will go in and look for people who are cited in company pages or in some fashion, like on their website.
Right.
And all of a sudden, they...
Well, that takes us into the area of philosophy of how you run your organization. Do you want to help your employees better their lives? And if that includes them leaving the company potentially, that's something you got to consider.
Well, if they're very good employees, you want them to better their lives at your company.
That would be ideal, right? Yeah. But you don't have any change.
We don't want them to better their lives at competition.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's where you want to send your folks that aren't so good, right?
Okay, but so we kind of skipped over, but maybe I'm going ahead, but let's talk a little bit about InMail since we're talking about communication. And when you're on LinkedIn, people can send you an InMail. Does it show up on your regular mail, or do you have to go into LinkedIn to find in-mails?
In-mails will, I don't get too many in-mails. How do they show up for you?
Sometimes they show up as on my email listing, and sometimes I find them in
Your actual
LinkedIn.
email.
Yeah. Sometimes
Well, I would think with the in-mail feature, this is like an upgraded feature, and when you purchase the higher levels of subscriptions, you get more in-mails because they are important. They're more of a direct connect. They say that people will pay more attention to an in-mail than they will a regular communication through the network within LinkedIn.
Now, can I send in-mails to my first contacts without having to go into a higher level of subscription?
Yes. Now, you're only limited to, I think, 5 in-mails a month.
Oh.
So you want to be really careful.
No. Blade is showing us 1, but he really know it's 5.
Right. So the primary consideration then needs to be, what is it you want?
So if you're on a free account, it's only 5.
Right.
Now, but if somebody sends you an in-mail, you can respond. Does that count as one of your 5? Or is
No.
that, okay.
No, that's one of theirs. You send them.
Okay, so if somebody sends you something and you respond, it doesn't count as one of the 5.
No.
So sometimes an in-mail is if you can't find their email address as a way to communicate.
Yes.
Okay.
And even so, the email or the mail delivery system within LinkedIn is still pretty good. There's a lot of folks that LinkedIn, like anything else, goes through cycles. There was a period where I was getting a tremendous amount of sales-oriented emails in my LinkedIn inbox. And I think LinkedIn has gone through and begun to filter those a little better now because I don't get quite so many.
Okay. People just want to communicate with you.
Right.
I mean, everybody wants to talk to the Zen.
Yeah. Who wouldn't? So
You better be careful with that question.
there's a question. There's always a question in Zen.
Okay. Always a question in Zen. Okay, I'm glad to hear that.
Speaking of questions, we're going to take that question and more questions about LinkedIn. We're going to talk about Pulse and maybe a couple other things in the next segment. And we thank you again for listening to Two Small Biz Guys and your caricatures that pose as advisorologists from time to time. Thanks for listening. We'll be right back with you.
Two Small Biz Guys with Zen and Ray. We'll be back after this.
Hi, I'm Zen Benefiel with Be the Dream Transformational Life Coaching and Professional Services at BeTheDream.com. Our mission? To provide leading-edge transformational personal and business development services. Our services include life coaching, enterprise coaching, partnering facilitations, and possibilities coagulating. We've been in business since 1988. In times of massive change, you need someone who can help you adjust and transform. I can meet that challenge with you, offering a stellar skill set from serving individuals and companies for over 20 years. I invite you to peruse BeTheDream.com and put me to the test. Fill out the coaching assessment survey and give me a call. The first call is free, and you can find out if I'm what you are looking for in a coach, consultant, or service provider. Call 480-633-7179. Let your dreams mold future realities. BeTheDream.com.
Business owners want to call their own shots, make appropriate income, and control their destiny. Our passion is to help you achieve your goals. A Pro Peer Advisory Board is just the thing. It's a confidential monthly meeting of non-competitive owners facilitated by a pro who has walked in your shoes. He's your mentor and tormentor, moving you ahead. When you have issues or opportunities keeping you awake, where do you get help? Pro Boards give support and non-biased feedback from your peers. To sample a free Pro President's Board meeting, email ray@propres.com. There's no commitment or charge. Email ray@propres.com. You're listening to Two Small Biz Guys. Now, back to your hosts, Zen Benefiel and Ray Silverstein.
Welcome back to Two Small Biz Guys and our lively conversation about LinkedIn and how you can use it better for yourself and your company.
Now, you ought to tell people how they can link with us.
Right. You can link with us. Go to our webpage, twosmallbizguys.com. That's the numeral 2, SMALLBIZGUYS.com. Yeah, I could even spell today. And we have our social links on the website. Connect with us everywhere.
Got right. Okay, now we are going to talk about groups and Pulse and all the. So, do you want to?
Yeah, let's talk about, before we get into Pulse, let's talk about groups. Groups are really important. This is one of the ways that you as a business owner or even as a professional can discuss, communicate, create conversations, build relationships with folks that are active in groups. And the groups generally are specific toward particular topic areas, right?
Or interest area. Okay.
Same thing, right. Topics, interests.
So if now there's I've had people market to me.
I got people.
About people, and they're talking about the aspect about forming your own group, because that is a group that you can control with, and therefore you can communicate with people. It seemed like it would be a difficult, maybe time-consuming type of activity.
Yeah, what happens when that group gets to be 100,000 plus, which many are?
Well, it should only be 100,000 plus, because then you have really a major asset.
Right, and you've got a market.
But when you're in a group, I get, for example, I'm a member of groups, and I get emails from these groups. I don't know if they're emails, but I get communication from the group about some type of topic.
LinkedIn sends out its own communications about your groups from time to time.
Okay, so
hot topics.
And so what is your comment about when you get these communications? Do you respond? Do you just delete, or what do you do with them?
Well, it depends on how intrigued you are by the subject material that's in the post that you get. If it's something you're interested in, then by all means, go look and see what's there. Take a few moments. It only takes a few moments to, a couple clicks to go see what's there, and it might be something of value. That's kind of how the web works. You never know what you're going to find until you do, right? The fact is you're there looking, and you're hoping to get those connections and the things that you need for your business to grow.
So what you're really saying is that...
What am I really saying?
Well, in relationship building, because when you talk about in the digital world...
It's all about relationships.
Okay, relationship in the non-digital world is hand-to-hand, face-to-face.
Right.
In the digital world, it's communication via the keyboard.
Yeah, there used to be a term called the digital handshake that software developers use, right?
Well, that sounds like when they just give you one finger, but that's beside the point. But,
yeah.
But the digital handshake is when somebody sends you communication, you communicate back and forth, and you create this relationship.
Right.
So that takes some time to do, but also means that you have to be willing to do this. And
when you consider the time factor that you're not in the vehicle, you're not on the road, the time factor is actually less to develop healthier relationships.
Now, all this discussion, does this work with the mobile, with the phone?
Absolutely. It's integrated with your mobile phone, whether you've got an Android or an iPhone. LinkedIn works a little differently than you would find it on a desktop or PC, but yeah, they're like everything now. It's got to be mobile friendly, or you're leaving most of your folks behind.
Okay, should people join groups?
I would say yes. It gives you the opportunity to find out, especially if you're a marketer and you're looking for what your competition is. You can go join a group that has a familiar topic in your industry and see what everybody else is doing. Create conversations about ideas that you might have.
Okay, so if I'm in a group, I can send out a communication to the group about some type of topic or interest or whatever.
Right. Now, best practices, again, with the groups, back to the know, like, follow, and share. You've got to be interactive. If you want people to pay attention to you, then you need to pay attention to others. We're not always that effective. in following those guidelines because, we're there. We've only got so much time to participate, and oftentimes we let certain things slide because we want our message out there.
Okay, now the aspect is, now you're the doctor, so I want you to take my pulse and tell me about pulse.
All right. Well, pulse.
You're the digital doctor, that is. Okay, that's
Well,
that's enough.
Digital pulses are light packets, right? We're on the digital domain, and we're shoving bits down a glass tube, bits and bytes. So, not that we bit off more than we can choose, but taking a big bite out of pulse is bringing into your awareness all kinds of different articles that both known and unknown authors present through this digital news feed that LinkedIn has put together called Pulse.
Okay, so when somebody posts an article, who does it go to?
It goes to everyone who's following them, and depending on your level of interaction and what they've given you access to, which Google with LinkedIn does give certain allowances for the number of folks that you have,
Okay,
you're going to be in everybody's newsfeed.
Okay, so is a follower different from a first contact?
Yes.
So a person has to be basically say, I want to follow you, or you'd have any activity or recognition within the Pulse.
And oftentimes with Pulse, if you're a first contact, you'll automatically be a follower.
Automatically. So if you posted something in Pulse, it would go to the first contacts as a notification through LinkedIn?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. It's interesting. So,
but you want to make sure that your articles, again, each article has a featured image. It's got a headline, content. You can put links. You can put videos. You can put images. You can do everything that you can do in a normal news story, right? Except that you want to be able to, cite your sources if you've got those. And it's also got room for keywords at the bottom of the article, so that if somebody's in LinkedIn and they're looking for a specific keyword, if your article has that, then your article will come up in that keyword search.
Okay. So what you're saying is Pulse is an additional way, if you're putting out a blog, it's an additional way for you to communicate, taking that blog and also putting it to Pulse as a vehicle for greater distribution.
Right. One of the things you want to think about if you're doing a blog is repurposing. Every time you write a blog, that same blog can be repurposed in multiple areas so that you get a wider range of exposure on the web.
So what would be some of the repurposing you could do with it, other than you post the blog, you can post it to your website, I assume. You can post it
Right. If you've got a blog, you post it on your website. You can post it on Facebook, Google+, LinkedIn. You can post a link on Twitter. There are some plugins that will do it automatically for you, so that it goes into your personal feed on LinkedIn as well as the article on Pulse.
So when you say a plugin, are you referring to an app? Is that like a plugin, or is it you have to get something unique?
Apps and plugins are two different things. Plugins are generally focused in WordPress environments.
Okay.
Apps are for your mobile phone.
All right. Okay.
And they have all kinds of features, depending on what you want.
All right. So now, when you also do Pulse, can you do a video also, or YouTube, and connect YouTube? Like you talk about repurposing blogs, can you also repurpose videos that you do?
Absolutely. And you can plug it right in. There's a feature that you can embed the video right into your article, which is way cool if you've got good SEO for your videos as well. Every time you can combine something that has good SEO and you're cross-referencing multiple platforms with the same SEO, then that's going to look much better for people who are randomly searching.
So does
and
that,
finding you.
okay,
Right.
does that also come up
By
higher?
just randomly
Okay,
searching.
does that also come up higher in Google searches too? So it has a double whammy or double benefit?
That's a good question, and smarter people than I could answer that. I would think, knowing the kind of algorithms and heuristics that are involved, that the likelihood would be high. Yes.
Okay.
Don't say anything about me.
I'm not saying anything about you. I'm just
Okay.
learning about that.
Well, I opened the door with the likelihood of being high.
Okay, so when you mentioned also tags, how do you use tags in LinkedIn? Is tag a game where I chase after you, or
you
what?
need a good can of spray paint, first of all, and a bright color. And different tag. The tags in Google or in LinkedIn, you're using Impulse. This is the only place that you could actually put tags in.
But what does that tag mean?
The tag is a keyword. So if you start typing in a keyword at the bottom of the article, you'll see the space there, and you'll get suggestions, right? And if it's in their database, and it's probably better if you look at what's there and choose something that's already in their database rather than put a keyword in that may not be there.
Okay. So that means that you're going to get a higher amount of following? Is that what that means?
That just means that your tag, that tag is tied to your article. So when you search for that keyword in the LinkedIn search box, that article is likely to come up.
Okay. So what you're really saying is in LinkedIn you can search for the person, you can search for the company page, you can search for a keyword. All of these kind of tie into looking for information and contact, I guess.
Yeah, well, LinkedIn's it's a big professionally driven search engine for finding folks that want to do a higher level of business or want to make themselves available for business. And there are a couple of things that we didn't mention that as we're heading out, I do want to bring up that Salesforce has been able to integrate themselves with LinkedIn, and Sales Navigator is a tool that gives you a greater depth of or capacity to investigate.
You have search.
Yeah.
You can select off a different criteria such as company size, SIC code, industry, or whatever. So
Right. And some of LinkedIn's higher paid subscriptions allow you to do that as well. But I think if you're looking at, a lot of companies use Salesforce or similar types of CRMs. And speaking of CRMs, LinkedIn's also got their own CRM that's built into the system that allows you to keep track of things. So theoretically, you could, if you're wanting to do business, you could just use LinkedIn alone as a standalone
now, but is there CM
device.
Is there CM activity primarily through your LinkedIn activity?
Your
Or-
CRM is tied to your profile, and you can keep track of your interactions with others in that. And that CRM feature is right below your initial profile image and title and heading on your page.
Well, you're going to have to show me after we go off the air. I mean, this sounds so exciting
It is,
and enlightening.
there are so many things that are developing on the web that folks need to be aware of. Sometimes if you're running a business, you don't have time to do so. So guys like us get together and we kind of give you the tasty tidbits that we think are valuable and worthy of your awareness to help you at least get a little better prepared to encounter the digital domain and make it work for you.
Well, after this discussion, I now have been digitized, and I feel that this is a very worthwhile discussion.
Well, you're digitized and we're proselytized. So I thank you for the discussion today, Ray. Anything you'd like to say is a parting gift?
A parting gift is I think that people should use LinkedIn.
Or a
'cause
parting gift?
I think it'd be a very powerful tool. Gift.
Right. Right. All right. And with that animation, we're a couple of caricatures, two small biz guys. Thanks for listening. You'll listen to us next time, and we might see you.
Thank you for listening to Two Small Biz Guys with Zen Benefiel and Ray Silverstein. You can hear Two Small Biz Guys live every Wednesday at noon or catch their show on demand anytime 24/7 right here on StarWorldWideNetworks.com.